Hello and welcome back to another edition of the weekend preview right here on the Football Zone. Some big games today or this weekend, starting off with Crystal Palace versus Liverpool at Selhurst Park. Liverpool, of course, seeing a huge win against Tottenham, set them 3 points clear. Crystal Palace in 12th. They're quite inconsistent at the moment, if we're being honest. Drew the last few, but got a great win against Crystal Palace, of course. But I do think Liverpool have too much strength here. I think it'll be 2-0. They're on a high at the moment. Southampton take on Manchester City at St Mary's. Now, this is an interesting game. Man City not quite firing all cylinders. Slavan Bilic, of course, getting a sack after drawing to Man City. How the mighty have fallen. Southampton third. What a start to the season they're having. So that makes this game really unpredictable. But I do think you still have to look at the two squads and just say Manchester City have so much more quality at the moment. I think it will be a Man City win. I'll say 2-0. Mikel Arteta returns to the club where he's a hero at Everton with Arsenal. Now, of course, this is really hard to predict. Everton, 5th in the table. What a win though last time out against Leicester. Arsenal, wonder if that draw was a sign of recovery or maybe not. But to be honest, Everton looked a really good side last time out. And I think they'll win again here. I think it'll be 2-1 Everton, and it'll just have even more misery on Mikel Arteta. Newcastle host Fulham Saturday night. Newcastle, really disappointing defeat to Leeds last time out, especially considering they've won their last two. They'll be looking to bounce back from that quickly. Fulham, board draw against Brighton, really. Unbeaten in 2 now, so they're on. Well, that's progress for them. But I do still think, looking at the two sides, Fulham aren't great away from home. I do think Newcastle will have a bit too much for them, which is why I'm going to say 2-0. Brighton hosts Sheffield United, first game on Sunday. This is quite an interesting one, to be honest. Brighton, they're not having the best of luck at the moment. Pretty piss poor draw against Fulham, if we're being honest. Sheffield United, though, still only on 1 point. They desperately need a result. This is really hard to predict because Brighton, they're not putting up any trees at the moment either. Fuck it, I think Sheffield United will get a point. I'll say 0-0. Exciting. Tottenham host Leicester at the new stadium. Can you call it a new stadium anymore? I presume so. Anyway, Leicester will be really wanting to bounce back quick from that defeat to Everton, as will Tottenham from that last minute winner against Liverpool. It'll be interesting to see how those defeats affect both those sides. So this could be still quite a hard one to predict, but I do think Tottenham, they are just playing quite well at the moment. Jose's getting the best out of them. So I do think they will have too much for Leicester. I'm going to say 2-0 to Spurs. Manchester United host Leeds at Old Trafford. Derby, shame there's not any crowd at this because it's been class atmosphere. But anyway, Man United in 9th. But with their game in hand, I'm filming this before the game against Sheffield United. They could go up to 5th with that, and still with a game in hand. Leeds in 13th. Just not quite clicking maybe as they'd hope, but still doing all right. But I do think Man United will have a bit too much for them. I will say 2-0. West Brom take on Aston Villa at the Hawthorns. West Brom, Big Sam's first game. I really don't agree with the decision to sack Bilic, but if anyone's going to keep them in the league, it will be Allardyce. Aston Villa, they're a bit hit and miss at the moment. Had a great start, seem to have dropped away, but still doing well with the game in hands. But I do think they will get the win here. I think they'll hunt more misery on West Brom. I'll say 1-0 Villa. Burnley take on Wolves, first game on Monday Night Football. This is a big game actually. Wolves not on the greatest run of form, but did get a great win against Chelsea. Hopefully that'll give them some confidence. Burnley, don't know how they've done, of course, this tonight. I'm filming it, but great win against Arsenal on the weekend. So both teams will be on a high, and it'll be interesting to see how this goes, but I do think Wolves do have a bit too much quality, so I will say 2-0 to them. Chelsea host West Ham at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea, they seem to be really clicking, but then they've just gone massively downhill recently. 2 poor defeats on the trot now, 2 games you'd expect them to win. West Ham, I think they'll be disappointed to only get a point against Crystal Palace with the way they've been playing, but still they can't complain. They've been outstanding so far this season. But I do think Chelsea will get back to winning ways here, and I think it will be 2-0 to Chelsea. Preston host Bristol City at Deepdale on Friday night. This is an interesting game. Bristol City on a really crap run of form, if we're being honest. Ninth in the table now. They've really dropped down. Preston in 16th, just hit and miss. Really so much at the moment. Lost the last two others, so they'll be looking to get back to winning ways. And I've got a feeling they might. Bristol City aren't on the best run of form, got loads of injuries, so I will say 2-1 to Preston. Norwich take on Cardiff at Carrow Road. Norwich on a high, really good 2-1 away win at Reading. 4 wins on the bounce now, so yeah, they've got to be favourites here. Cardiff, great comeback against Birmingham, but I don't think it'll be enough here. Norwich just look on absolute fire at the moment. You can see when they bring in Todd Cantwell for the second half in the Championship, that's when you know they're a good team. So I think 2-0 to Norwich. Birmingham take on Middlesbrough at St Andrews. Now this is going to be a really interesting game actually, because it'll be so interesting to see how Birmingham react from that really disappointing collapse against Cardiff. Middlesbrough, 10 men against Luton, but still held on to a really good win. Sort of game Luton win that, so yeah, they'll be really pleased with that. Great defending from a Warnock team, as you'd expect. And I think it will be quite an even game, this. I think they will share the spoils. Brentford host Reading. Brentford's new stadium. No fans at this, of course, because London's just gone into Tier 3. But this is probably one of the games I'm really looking forward to this weekend. Brentford in 6th, Reading in 5th. Nothing much to separate the two sides, really. But I do make Brentford the favourites for this. The main difference being Ivan Toney just in such great form. Lucas Joao out for the Royals. They've got not nearly as much goal scoring threat without him. So I think it will be close. But I do think Brentford will pick up a 2-1 win. Watford host Huddersfield. Huddersfield host Watford at the John Smith Stadium. Watford in 3rd, Huddersfield in 14th. Huddersfield drew against Coventry, ball draw really. Watford, good draw against Brentford, but they'll be disappointed not to win, with Brentford only having 10 players, and especially as they were 1-0 up. But I do think they will react strongly here, and I think it will be a 2-0 win to Watford. Luton host Bournemouth at the Kenilworth Road. Bournemouth in 2nd place. Really fortuitous win against Wycombe. They weren't at their best here, but I back them to win here. Luton, really inconsistent. Disappointing loss against Middlesbrough last time out, but then they get a great win against Preston. You can never tell with these lot, but I do think Bournemouth will have a bit too much for them. So I'll say Luton 0, Bournemouth 2. Millwall take on Notts Forest at the Den. This is going to be an interesting game. We'll see how Notts Forest recover from that win against Sheffield Wednesday. Can they make it into something more permanent? And the same will go out for Millwall, picking up their first win in 11 games against Bristol City last time out. Really impressive win. And I think they'll continue here. I think they'll get a second win when one comes around, two comes around at once. So I think it'll be a 1-0 Millwall win. Anyway, next up, Rotherham host Derby at the New York Stadium. Rotherham in 20th. I think they'll be getting worried, Rotherham. Forest and Derby, statistically the bigger clubs with probably stronger squads, seem to be picking up a bit at the moment, and I think that will really be worrying them. Big game for Derby. They can go out of the relegation zone. They're in great form. But I do think the two teams will share spoils here. Neither team will want to lose, so I'll say 1 apiece. Sheffield Wednesday host Coventry at Hillsborough. Coventry 18th in the table. Sheffield Wednesday 24th. They're just a disaster at the moment, Sheffield Wednesday. Pulis still looking for his first win. Coventry, they're on about a 9-match unbeaten run now or something. Admittedly, most of them are draws, but still unbeaten, still on a roll. They're doing really well at the moment. And I think they'll extend it here. I don't think they'll get the win, but I do think there will be a point. 1-1. Stoke host Blackburn. Now this is a really interesting game. Stoke, they just don't look the same side without Tyrese Campbell. I think you have to say that. But you just don't know with Blackburn. They're suffering a bit of an injury crisis at the moment. But they've still got quality. Harvey Elliott, Adam Armstrong, they can cause trouble on their day. So it won't be easy for Stoke, but I back them to win here. I will say 2-1. Swansea host Barnsley at the Liberty. Swansea, they're ticking on nicely, but they looked awful against Barnsley midweek. A great win for Barnsley last time out against Sheffield Wednesday, coming from behind, and that's 2 wins on the trot now for them away from home. But Swansea, I think, will just have a bit too much quality for them, and I don't think they'll make it 3. So I'll say Swansea 2, Barnsley 0. And finally, Wycombe take on QPR at Adams Park, and this will be a really, really cagey game, I reckon. Neither team will want to lose. Both teams on a really dodgy run. Wycombe's so unlucky not to get a result against Bournemouth. QPR, they've looked alright in the last recent games. So I do think a result's coming here, but I think it will be a question of can they break down the Wycombe defence, and I think they might actually. I'm going to say 1-0, maybe late lucky goal. But anyway guys, that's it for this video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe, let me know your thoughts and comments down below. Remember to follow me on Twitter, link in the description below for daily wrestling news, and subscribe to my channel on screen right now, that'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching, peace.